Episode 54. A New Home. From the beginning until the end, Secretary Jensen didn't say a single word. She only received Dario's orders and then he hung up. Secretary Jensen was stupefied. He made a big decision and then casually made a phone call to have it carried out. This was too casual. Her boss was becoming more and more capricious. After she finished ridiculing him, Secretary Jensen got to doing things decisively. Bruce's father never would have thought that he would personally destroy his own company because of a small action of his son. After Dario made the phone call, he got into the car as well. As they drove, Jade felt that something was wrong. She anxiously asked, "Dario, didn't you say that you would take me back to the school? This is not the way to school. Where are we going?" "Of course, we're going to look at a new home. We can't stay in a hotel all the time, right?" Dario smiled. Jade was shocked. He had talked about this yesterday, but she did not think that he would come to buy a place so quickly. We bought a house already? Dario, can you afford it? Yesterday, you bought me a phone and we stayed in a hotel. You spend so much money." Before Jade could finish, Dario put his hand on her head and interrupted her. "Don't worry so much. Leave everything to me." When they arrived, Jade realized that their new place was in the best apartment in the city center. It was obvious that it was a very expensive neighborhood. She didn't want to go in, but Dario insisted on taking her. David Swan had come as well, and he told Jade that this apartment belonged to his company, so he could give them a special discount. It would not be very expensive. Then he brought them to the top floor to look at the apartment. When they arrived, Jade realized that it was very big. It was estimated to be 200 square meters. The most important thing was that it had been renovated. There were 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a balcony, and a study room. The living room was very spacious. What surprised Jade the most was that the living room was decorated in a style that matched her taste very well. There was a French window in the living room, and when the sun shone through it, the entire room was filled with warmth. It would be a very comfortable room. The scenery was beautiful, and if they moved in, Jade would be very happy. But one look at this place showed that it was expensive. Even if their friend David gave them a discount, it would still be very expensive. Jade hid her excitement and pretended to calmly look at the scenery. "Do you like it?" Dario held her hand and showed her every corner of the place. He watched closely the changes in her eyes. Jade didn't dare to ask for the price. She was afraid that he would say that she was ruining the atmosphere. She smiled, looked into his deep and charming eyes and answered seriously, "As long as you like it, I like it." After all, he was the one paying. She couldn't afford anything, so she didn't dare to be picky. And she didn't want to be selfish and lower his standard of living for her preferences. Earlier that day, the manager of the hotel called him CEO Foster, and he paid $47,000 for her grandmother's surgery. She thought that he must have the money for this place, or he wouldn't have brought her here. Dario was expecting Jade to ask how much the new place would cost. He thought that if it was too expensive, she would leave immediately and not let him buy it. In case this happened, he especially asked David to prepare a smaller suite. But her answer turned out to depend on whether or not he liked it. She cared most about what he thought, and this change made him wild with joy. Jade was afraid that he would not believe her, so she held his hand. "I mean it, as long as you like it. Didn't you say before that money is earned, not saved? Even if it's paid in installments, it doesn't matter. In the future, I will work hard at acting so I can help pay the mortgage. The last time we filmed, director Cade Zape said I have a bright future ahead of me." It took Jade a while to finally muster up the courage to say these words, because it would be difficult for her to repay the mortgage. David was beginning to understand why Dario liked this girl. She was really different from other women. He was even jealous of Dario. But that was okay, since no one would snatch Miss Monica away from him. For his Miss Monica, he would definitely help Dario and Jade well. Dario reached out his hand and tapped Jade's nose. In front of David, he did not hesitate to be romantic with Jade. David's heart trembled. Dario was much more romantic than David had expected him to be. "Don't be foolish, Jade. I told you. You don't need to make money. I will support you." In his heart, David said, "Yes, Dario could buy this neighborhood. He has several villas, but he insisted on staying in this apartment." But David kept his mouth shut. Watching Dario show off his affection was really disgusting. David couldn't take it anymore. Can you really afford it? Jade was still a little worried. She didn't want to cause trouble for Dario. After all, she said she wanted to buy a house first. Of course, don't worry. Dario's eyes were especially gentle when he looked at her. His tone was also very firm. His steadiness made Jade feel more at ease. As long as she was by his side, she felt very safe. Well, then let's buy this place. If only she didn't tire him out and didn't cause trouble for him, she would be content. He was her benefactor, and the last thing she wanted was to bring him trouble. Not only did he save the person closest to her, but he also saved her. You really are a little fool. Dario did not really expect her to be so considerate to him. It doesn't matter. If I'm stupid since I was lucky enough to meet someone as handsome and rich as you. Jade self-deprecatingly accepted the nickname, Little Fool. At this moment, David's mouth opened as wide as an egg. The key was that these two people completely ignored his existence. Hey! I'll leave first, then you two can have a romantic conversation, okay? Have you thought about how I feel? David really did not expect Dario's usually cold face to reveal such a gentle look today. Dario even leaned to touch Jade's head and nod her nose in such an ambiguous and intimate manner. He didn't care about how others felt at all. Was he dreaming? It seemed that Jade's appearance made him completely forget about the woman he found 5 years ago. His heart was already falling into Jade's hands. Aren't you going to ask me this time? Dario had a faint smile on his face, and he never looked away from Jade. Jade lowered her head shyly and said in embarrassment, I won't ask as long as you like it. Dario then extended his hand and made an inviting gesture. Jade was about to ask him what he wanted to do when Dario suddenly bent down slightly. A gentle smile flashed across his eyes. Then, Miss Winslet, can I now invite you to choose furniture for our new home?